Life, as we've come to know it, is no longer the same. Our daily routines have been disrupted, we're no longer able to socialise with other human beings outside of those that we live with, and the activities we love to partake in, as well as the places we would often frequent, are no longer available. Lockdown has taken its toll on every single one of us. And despite the fact that a lot of us don't have it too bad, what with unlimited entertainment at our fingertips with the likes of streaming services like Netflix and Disney+, as well as means of instant communication and connection through online video calling services, you have to admit, it hasn't been easy to suddenly uproot our lives, forget what we do on a day-to-day basis, and block out those nearest and dearest to us, all in favour of trying to slow the spread of coronavirus. I wanted to see how other people have been dealing with this, so I decided to speak to a number of friends to learn what life in lockdown has been like for them, and to find out just how they've been impacted in their everyday lives.
My name's Elliot McKay.
I'm Lucinda.
Joe. Alex.
Eileen Padard.
I'm Hadassah. I'm Yasmin Gonzalez.
These friends were kind enough to give up their free time, and outside of lockdown, they do usually have a lot of things going on in their lives. What is it that you normally do on your regular day-to-day basis outside of lockdown?
So on a normal day at uni, I will go to the library for a couple of hours and try and work, and then I usually have lectures.
So I have 3 or 4 jobs here and there. I was currently finishing off a degree, or I am currently finishing a degree in music production and songwriting.
Well, I'm at university at the moment, so I'd be literally out of the house most of the day, like meeting whoever, filming, at the library, like literally every day.
I live outside of London, but I go to university in London, so I commute quite often.
I run a youth leadership program. A regular day at work consists of preparing the programs that we run every week, writing and changing sessions and being in contact with the kids and their families.
Meeting up with my band, writing songs, playing shows, going into the studio, recording.
I do child minding, or I work in a studio, or I work at a synagogue teaching.
I also volunteer at a charity shop nearby, so I like to go up there quite often.
I'm a radiographer. We worked generally 9 to 5. I'm at a trauma centre, so you have GP patients who are referred to come in, an X-ray, clinic people coming in, lots of surgeries going on, like a lot of elective surgeries. Like you need X-rays for pre-Christmas, let's say. It was mad busy all the time, like loads and loads of patients. We would be X-raying like 500 patients a day.
Try to go to the gym on a daily basis, or I'd go for a run along the beach, which is also pretty nice.
Go outside. I usually, go walk my dog.
Going to the beach as well. Going to the pub.
Meet up with people.
Every evening, I'd meet up with someone and do something.
I'm usually rarely in the house, so it's quite shocking to not only be in it more often, to be in it constantly, yeah.
Most of my life happens at uni. I'm very rarely at home.
All of this has suddenly had to be adapted and changed around always being at home. How are you spending your time in lockdown?
Because I'm working from home, it's quite an easy structure. I start work at 9, I finish at around 5, and I'm working at my computer all day, just getting on with some stuff that we're able to do in the youth department at the moment, and being in constant communication with work.
Okay, so I have been quite good actually. I've tried to stick to quite a strict routine. So I usually get up at 8 and then I try and get a good solid amount of work done for uni. It's pretty much how I spend most of my day.
Been watching a lot of YouTube videos. Whatever you want to learn or whatever you want to improve yourself on, you can watch YouTube videos on nowadays. If it's just musicianship, how to improve playing guitar, how to improve playing piano, stuff like that, and you can come across thousands and thousands and thousands of videos on how to do so. So that's really what I'm trying to do.
I'm trying to stay outside. I am trying to read, but I keep getting distracted by the things. Watching stuff, going on walks, cycling. I've tried cycling a little bit.
Tried very hard to exercise as soon as I wake up, because I've noticed if I don't exercise, I feel crap all day. Tried to make myself nice meals. Exhibit A.
I'm surprised I managed to get the writing half of one of my assignments done in 2 days. I actually just managed to concentrate for a bit, but it was shocking. It's been difficult to sit for more than half an hour and be nope, I need to move, I need to do something else. So I've been getting it done. It's just been a slow process. I think because, again, you're locked indoors. Usually, if I'm if I do this work today, tomorrow I can go out and do something fun. I don't have as much as an incentive now to get my work done. It's like, oh, I get my work done and then I have one less thing to do indoors. Maybe I want to prolong my work.
Oh my god, it's such a mess, man. I stayed up till 7 a.m. the other night watching Homeland. I honestly, I just can't sleep at all at the moment. I don't know about you, but there's something about not having anything to wake up to do. You know what I mean? It's like, it's so hard to keep a healthy, life plan.
When I say I binge watch TV, it's like once I start something, I literally don't move for like 6 hours.
Finding it easier to procrastinate more because there is nothing else to do. I mean, I've got lots of work, but I just find myself sitting on my bed, on my phone, or playing Animal Crossing. That's literally all I'm doing.
Video games have been a lifesaver. Animal Crossing in particular. You're allowed to talk to your villagers and be within 2 meters of them on Animal Crossing though, so it's okay. It's a little bit different.
I've watched Netflix and played a lot of The Sims. A lot. Sims has been keeping me going, honestly. I've been living vicariously through my Sims.
That's pretty much been my similar answer. It's been like, do work, bit of exercise, but instead of The Sims, it's been play Animal Crossing.
Oh, I want it so badly.
Trying to keep busy, doing stuff with the music and doing some live streams on social media. You know, that's something to look forward to in the week for me. But yeah, man, I'm just so bored.
You doing them nightly, the Instagram live streams?
I do 3 nights a week. We do Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday.
Do you feel like they're sort of helping to keep you sane, almost?
Yeah, I'd say so. It's obviously not the same as doing a gig.
Of course.
There's something quite weird for me sitting in front of a phone and playing. It keeps me writing and it keeps me playing. So that's something, I suppose.
But maybe this is a good thing.
Why'd you say that?
Because I can practice a load of my skills at home. I'm very fortunate to have the resources to be able to practice a lot of things. But going into a lot of jobs and things like this, I wasn't sure if I was capable of doing this. And now I'm 100% certain within myself that I can. And I'm good enough. Because I've been practicing, I've been learning more than I ever have because I have nothing else to do. Except really like improve my craft. You know, before this whole thing, I thought I was a respectable sound engineer and producer, but now I think I work at a higher standard now. And that's purely from learning more, just taking the time to watch more YouTube videos, read more, practice more. And to be honest, it's kept me out of trouble in a lot of ways.
Elliot does have a point. Not only is this time beneficial for some of us who want to reflect on our lives or learn new skills, but we're also starting to see the positive impact that it's having on the world. Let me put it in a more simple context. See this road right here? It leads down to a motorway near my house. That road used to be very difficult to get across because of the sheer number of cars that would drive down it. Now since lockdown started, it's been virtually empty. Can you also hear how quiet it is? That's because there's a lot less planes going overhead. I used to see so many planes flying overhead, especially since I live near both a private airfield and a public airport. I don't see any planes anymore. With flights being cancelled, airlines deciding not to fly, and people deciding to travel only when absolutely necessary, we're actually beginning to see what a positive impact this lockdown is having on the environment.
Experts estimate that carbon emissions in China fell by 25% between February and March. In Venice, the water is running clearer now that the boats have vacated the canals. In March, NASA satellite data found a 30% drop in air pollution over the northeast United States, the lowest level for any March since 2005.
Goats are conquering empty streets in a British village. What a strange picture to us humans who are used to only seeing ourselves governing the world. But as soon as we withdraw, nature quickly takes over.
The 50th anniversary of Earth Day lands in the middle of a global pandemic, giving humans a glimpse of what the planet might look like if we took better care of it. Take air quality. With fewer people on the roads, skies over New Delhi this week turned from hazy brown to a rare blue. In Paris, where satellite pictures show empty streets around the Arc de Triomphe, air pollution is down 46%, 19% in Sydney, 29% in LA.
Now, a lot of my friends have even had major things coming up that unfortunately due to lockdown have had to be cancelled or put on hold.
We were filming, got one scene done for one of our projects, got to the day of shooting. We woke up in the morning to two emails. One of our actresses had dropped out because her father was at risk, so she didn't feel safe coming in, which obviously makes sense. But also our location had dropped out because all cinemas that day had been shut by the government, and we were going to film in a cinema.
Well, luckily, just before lockdown, I managed to film my film. But at the moment, I'm working with the editor over like FaceTime to help her like edit what I want the final film to look like. So that's been kind of difficult. It just takes so much longer. Like even for like a little bit, it's like having to explain it and then them doing it and it being like not right, and you have to like re-explain it when it could have been done in like 2 seconds if you were with them.
I have had to move home because uni was cancelled. Or like my whole exams were kind of cancelled, but not really cancelled, but kind of cancelled.
I had studio work planned. I was going to be recording like an album with a band, which I was really excited for, which I'd written. Had a job lined up for after uni, and I have no idea where I stand with that, which is pretty terrifying. I mean, I'm not complaining because everyone's in the same boat.
It was really terrible timing. We were about a week away from announcing our biggest show to date. We were going to play this nightclub in Bournemouth, 300 capacity, something like that. And we were, like, as you can imagine, really ecstatic about it.
Yeah.
We'd held off gigging in our hometown for a while, leading up to it, and then literally, like, just as everything started planning, we'd booked some artists, and we'd started all the risk assessments. Obviously, lockdown happened. We were in the process of recording a song as well. We put a load of money into recording this song, so it sounded real juicy. We never got to finish it because we couldn't go back to the studio where we were recording it because they had to close.
I was trying to organise to go to Glastonbury this year, but that's been cancelled as well.
My mum, it was also her birthday the other week, so she was going to have a bit of a birthday party. And that then changed to she had a house party, like the app house party, with a couple of her family members. And I didn't get to go out and get her a birthday present, so I gave her an IOU, a birthday present. Paper. Yeah, I felt so bad, but I couldn't get out, so yeah, I owe her a trip to Marks and Spencer's, and I'm like, I will buy you something.
I also was supposed to go away in this month, and that hasn't happened, and I was also might be going away, but that's probably not going to happen either.
Yeah, I was meant to go away. I mean, I wasn't meant to see this amazing, huge, massive trip, but I was meant to be going away. To be fair, I did book it stupidly, like, I literally booked it before the whole coronavirus thing came out. Next Monday, on Friday, I'm supposed to have been going to Barcelona with some people from work. And then at the end of that week, I was meant to be going to Russia with my boyfriend because he's Russian, to see his family. And at the end of the month, I was going to go to Croatia.
As you can see, people have had things postponed that they put time and even money into. And as an up-and-comer in the music industry, Alex has decided to share his perspective. You kind of have like a unique perspective in that you're part of, obviously, the music scene whilst it's being heavily affected right now. Do you feel like, is there any thoughts that you kind of have with regards to the situation and how it's affecting the music scene in particular?
It's looking very unlikely that we're going to be gigging till probably Christmas. I'm fortunate enough to have a job on the side. I've been furloughed, but I'm still getting paid. But I know a lot of people who do this for a living and rely on it, and their families rely on it, and that's very, very bad for them. So yeah, it's there's a lot of people who are not having a good time because of this as well. I mean, a lot of people use it to for their insanity. Performing's a big as a performer, it's a big part of my life, and it's a form of expression that you don't really get anywhere else. And not only that, but the community. There's so many people I don't get to see, and I miss dearly. It is what it is. It's hopefully just for a short time. I think it goes for every small band. The minute that they lift the lockdown, they'll be trying. I don't know if they'll allow outdoor stuff or not, but yeah, like as soon as the lockdown's over, we're definitely going to try and get back to it. There's always going to be a demand for live music. It's something that we've always had, and I like to think we always will. I think when lockdown's over, I think the demand for it will be higher than ever. In that regard, it'd be great. But I suppose the competition's going to be quite fierce. We want to make sure people are safe, and it's not good for anyone if we're putting people in harm's way.
Of course.
Just to play some tunes.
What are your suggestions for people who kind of want to spend this time learning music, I guess?
Do it, 100%. It's frustrating, and it takes a lot of time, and what better time to do it than now? Teach yourself, go on YouTube, do it. I 100% encouraged it. It was the best thing I ever did for myself.
Hadassah, meanwhile, is a radiographer in London, the city that was hit hardest by the pandemic. She's part of an industry that is probably the most difficult to be working in at a time like this.
Since everything kind of got intense and like COVID and stuff, we've been moved to having 12-hour shifts. So I'm doing like 3 12-hour shifts in a row. And I think my hospital has one of the highest volume of corona patients. And yeah, it's all like a bit odd at the moment, actually. Initially, like I think I x-rayed one of the first corona patients we had in our hospital. Everyone was super like freaked out about it. I mean, they still are, but like obviously not to the extent. And I was on a night shift and I had to go and x-ray him at like 4 in the morning or 3 in the morning. And just like the amount of, I went in, I had to like go in a separate room and change, do this whole procedure before I even went in to x-ray this guy, had to x-ray him, like was freaking out, and then went out and had to do this whole cleaning thing. And it took like 10 minutes just to like change my gloves, clean up, put my gloves back on, put new gloves, clean up, do this. Like, it was a whole procedure. Now, like, you don't do that at all. Like, there's not much PPE. Like, there's not much protective equipment for people. But when the patient can't come to our department, if they're in a ward and they're too unwell, we'll go up and x-ray them, but just their chest. Because the chest x-ray is the kind of the best critical x-ray that you can do. But really, like, nothing else. Like, really, like, we won't x-ray little things or things, but the chest, if they really need it, will go up and do it. Everything else will come down to our department. People who need, like, their fingers x-rayed, their hands, their arms, their pelvis, their legs, will come down to our department because it's safer, because it's more convenient. Mainly because it's safer, because if you're going up to wards, people are stacked together.
Yeah.
And if you're x-raying somebody, you're irradiating everyone. Obviously, like, it's a low radiation, but if you can avoid it, you avoid it. A big thing of what we're doing is we're going to people, we're x-raying, because we don't want to get any of our department dirty at all. All of the patients that have coronavirus, which is like 90% of patients you've been x-raying, we've been going up towards and up to like areas that don't have enough protection and x-raying them. I was quarantined. I had to be self-isolated for 2 weeks because my mum had the virus. So I got quarantined in my house in Edgware with all my sisters and with my mum and my stepdad for 2 weeks. Obviously, my mum wasn't well. She was really unwell. And the scary thing about that was I've obviously seen patients who are really ill. We see their x-rays. Obviously, like, I forget not everyone can like read x-rays. And these patients that I've been x-raying, who are obviously at their most critically ill, who are very unwell, who obviously can't breathe and everything, have almost like polka dot chests. So when my mum was ill, the scariest thing was me having to imagine her looking like that. So I think that was the thing as like medical whatever I had to deal with, because it's knowing more than you wish. It's hard to forget that like not everyone who gets it doesn't get to that extent of ill. And I think the thing that I found the hardest about all of this is that work doesn't end. So I was really freaking out. Like, I was finding it really difficult to be working, and then coming home from work and like not feeling like I was getting away from it. Like, I was really like not in a good state. Kind of when you go to work, you deal with work. You go to work, you x-ray whatever, you probably have infectious patients, you probably have patients that are like this, whatever, and you kind of forget about it, you leave it at work. But with this, it wasn't being left at work, it was worse. It's better sometimes to be at work, because at work it's the norm. So at work, we speak about it, but we have other stuff to speak about. It's almost the norm of what you're doing. And it's almost weird, and it was weird, that when you go out, it's still not ending.
How does the idea of the whole NHS clapping make you feel?
I like it. I mean, I know that a lot of people who I work with don't. A lot of people who I work with now are like, I don't give a shit about the clapping. Can you all just please stay inside and do your job? A lot of people are getting very agitated at the fact that they're still seeing people out and about. Yeah, we're getting claps. I like the clapping. I feel very appreciated.
It's just in my mindset that we should always be appreciating our NHS, because it's a vital service that we have that, you know, not all countries have access to, and we're very lucky to have it. So it's like, we shouldn't just be clapping for you guys only because of what's going on now. It's something that we should always appreciate you for.
That is obviously a thing, but unfortunately, there's been so many complaints about the NHS. Like, literally, like, ironically as well, the build up to this, everyone's complaining about waiting times and people complaining about junior doctors. It's almost like ironic that this has happened. And it is lovely, but I don't think people are really realising what they're what they're clapping for. I think people, as you said, like if they really thought about it, it would be something that's maintained. I think it's almost become like this culture of something to do as opposed to people actually knowing what they're clapping for.
Joe was initially classed as an essential worker also. He works for an organisation called Jewish Care, who run a number of schemes for the Jewish community, such as youth programs and providing classes and meals for the elderly. He's the member of staff in charge of youth programs at the centre that he works for. But once lockdown started, his role ultimately changed.
So when we had to cancel our youth activities, thankfully I'm in a community centre, so we have quite a diverse range of services. And one of our biggest services is the Meals on Wheels, where we prepare and send out food to some of the elderly people in our community. I was asked to come and help with that, so with bagging up some of the frozen stuff in the morning, preparing it to be sent out, and then if necessary also delivering some of the meals to the people.
Did you talk me through some of the kind of precautions that you guys were taking at the centre in order to sort of reduce any kind of harm that could come from obviously being in contact with so many sort of at-risk people?
So social distancing was put in place almost immediately. It means that when we were bagging up the stuff, the people that I was doing it with, we had to keep our distance and work on different freezers at a time. There were lines put in throughout the centre so that when volunteers would come in to pick up the meals, they were keeping at least 2 metres apart. As for the actual delivery, we have been provided with gloves and face masks.
Were you ever worried about the fact that you weren't in lockdown yourself, where so many people you knew, so many of your friends and family already were?
Absolutely. It's terrifying to know that you're out there and putting yourself at risk, and you could develop it even without symptoms and accidentally pass it on to the people that you're working with and your family and possibly even the elderly people that you're coming into contact with.